Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Welcome everyone to the orientation for whatever we call cohorts now. Is this August 2023 cohort?
I've
Right? It's
been
not.
flipping between August and Q4,
Yeah.
3. I don't know.
We used to do cohorts every quarter, so we had Q1, Q2, Q3, blah blah blah. And now we're switching to just twice a year. And so I think what we're going to do is call them August and February cohorts. So August 2023, we'll have February 2024 in a few months. But in any case, welcome. I'm so glad to see all your faces. So glad you're here. We're going to just kind of spend the next hour-ish, maybe a little bit less actually, kind of running through how the program works and just make sure you're all kind of oriented to what to expect over the next few weeks. But first, what we're going to do is get to know each other just a little bit. So I had posted, and I'll post it here again, just a couple questions for you all to answer. And we'll just take turns. We'll go around. It's not a huge group. The last group was I mean, this was 4 teams. I think we had 7 teams last time or something, so it was a lot bigger. So we weren't able to do the full introduction thing, but I love to have people say their name. Probably the easiest question that you could get, right? Tell us where you are. Everyone here we're all North America this time, but all over the United States and Canada. So tell us where you are, and then your pronouns if you care to share your pronouns, and then yeah, your role in your team. So I can go first, and then just to kind of demonstrate. So my name is Andrew Hedges. My pronouns are he, him. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and I'm the founder of Collab Lab. I'm not going to be directly mentoring any individual team, but you'll see me over the next couple of months in a couple of your team meetings. And I will pass it off to Stacy.
Great. Will you just call on people so that we can avoid having to
Oh,
be like, who is
sure.
left? So thank you for
Stacy.
calling on me. Thank you. Hi, I'm Stacy, co-founder of Collab Lab, she, her, hers. I am based out of Sacramento, California. I'm in the UK for the summer in the south of England. And I also am not directly mentoring a team this cohort, but I will be around to help you all with whatever you might need. Thank you. Good to see you all.
Cool. I'm just going to go in order of my screen. So I'm just going to work my way down, which means that Devin is next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Devin. Pronouns he, him. I'm based in Trinidad.
Oh, we lost you.
Yeah, kind of cut out there for a second, Devin. Right as you were about to say where you're from. Oh, I can't hear you. Okay, we'll come back to you. Why don't we work on your audio issues and we'll come back. Matthew Hughes.
Hey, yeah, Matthew Hughes, he, him. I am now in Olympia, Washington. Been here for a few months.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and be a mentor with TCL 65. So happy to be back after a while. Yeah, thanks.
I'm gonna be driving through Olympia in a few hours on the way to Seattle.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I'll wave as I go by.
Yeah, that's good.
And so this is where it's important for you to say your name because I'm not going to get your name right. Shangwan?
Yes, you did it right. Hi, everyone.
I did it?
Yeah, you did it. My name is Shangguan. I go by she, her, and I'm based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm part of the TCL 63.
Nice. Christina. Oh, and Devin, I saw a wave. Are you back? Do you have your audio back? You want to finish your intro?
Is this any better?
Yeah.
You can hear you.
Yeah? Okay. All right. So again, I'm Devin. I'm based in Trinidad and Tobago, and I'll be mentoring on TCL 63.
Perfect. Great. Now, Christina.
Hi guys, I'm Christina and I'm currently in Michigan, Southwest Michigan. It's my second year back in the cold. We were living abroad for about 10 years and so it's my second year back in the cold, getting adjusted to it. I go by she, her, and I'm part of TCL 64 as a developer. So we're excited to be here.
Nice. Great. Welcome. Tila, thanks for putting your pronunciation in your name. It's very smart.
Sure thing. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Tila. I use she, her pronouns. I live here in Denver, Colorado, and I'm a developer on, I think, Group 64.
Cool. Archa, I might not have said that correctly either.
Yeah, my name's Archa. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a developer in TCL 62, and I'm currently in Champaign, Illinois, which is central Illinois, but I live in Oakland, California.
Champagne, so fancy. Good. Dad joke. Shannon, is that how you say your name? I just get to be put on the spot and like say all the names wrong. Thanks.
It's okay. It's Shannon. Hi everybody.
Okay.
My name's Shannon. She, her are my pronouns. I live in New York and I am a developer on TLC 65. What's up, everybody?
Nice, Grace. Grace, you're next.
Hi everyone, I'm Grace. I am a returning mentor for TCL 62. I'm super excited. I'm currently based in Gainesville, Florida, but I will be hopefully moving to Connecticut during the cohort at some point.
Oh, wow.
And my pronouns are she, her.
Cool, right on. Lyle.
Hey, my name's Lyle, he, him. I am also based out of Denver, Colorado, and I will be a returning mentor also on TCL 62. So nice to be here.
Magdalena.
Hi, my name is Magdalena, and I'm currently in Poland. I'm visiting my family here for 3 weeks. And after that, I will go to the US to Mountain View because I live in Mountain View, and I go by she and her.
Nice.
That's it. Thank you.
Mike.
Hey, Mike Lambert, he, him pronouns. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and super excited to be a mentor on TCL 65. Yeah.
Right on. Satoshi.
Hi everyone, my name is Satoshi. I'm located in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and I joined as a developer in TCL 64.
Great. Hans.
Hi everybody. My name is Hans. Pronouns he, they. I am based in Portland, Oregon, and I am a developer on TCL 62.
Awesome. Portland represent.
Represent.
Is Mari?
Got it right. Hey everyone, my name is Mari. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Pronouns are she, her, and I'm on TCL 64, ready to get started.
Nice. Aslan? Close?
Yes, my name is Aslan, he, him. I'm in New York City and I'm a developer on TCL 63.
Great. Patty.
Hi everyone, my name is Patty. I live in Portland, Oregon. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a developer on TCL 65.
Nice. Welcome. Chase.
Hi, I'm Chase, he, him. I'm based in Denver, Colorado, and I'm going to be a mentor on TCL 63.
Very cool. Raquel.
Hi everyone, my name is Raquel. My pronouns are she, her. I'm located in near Denver, Colorado. My role is a developer on TCL 63.
Great. Jeremiah.
Hello, I'm Jeremiah. I use he, him pronouns. I'm in Roseburg, Oregon, which is like a few hours south of Portland. And I'm going to be a mentor on TCL 62.
Cool. Lydia? Lydia, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Lydia.
Hi.
I am in the Seattle area, and I am a developer in TCL 65.
Great. I'll wave at you too when I drive through Seattle. Jenny.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny, located in San Francisco, California. Pronouns are she, her, and I am a developer on TCL 62.
Cool. Karina?
Morning, everyone. I'm Karina. I'm just outside Boston on the East Coast. Pronouns are she, her, and I'm a developer on TCL 63.
Great. Caitlin?
Hello. My name is Caitlin, she, her pronouns. I'm based in Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. And I am a returning mentor and former Collabby, going to be with TCL 63 this time.
Awesome. And Isaiah, to bring us home.
Hello, guys. My name is Isaiah Sanchez. I am from the Los Angeles area. I use he, him, and I am developer with TCL 65.
Cool. Thanks, everybody, for unmuting and telling us just a little bit about yourselves. You're going to get to know your teams really well, but we don't have a lot of opportunities built in to kind of meet everyone all at once. So this is one of those chances to do that. So good to meet you all. We're so excited for the next couple of months. And I guess now we go into the content portion of our program. Stacey, do you want to share, or do you want me to share?
Yeah, I can totally share my screen. Give me one sec to scroll back to the top of this document. Here we go. And here we are.
I just pasted a link to one of the orientation doc for TCL 65, but they're all the same. So all of your repos have this doc in them somewhere, so you can follow along. We also have, if you're more comfortable in Spanish, there's a Spanish version of the orientation doc in your repo as well. So I'm going to just start off by talking a little bit about what is Collab Lab. So not that it makes a difference, it's too late, you're all here. So, but the reason that the Collab Lab exists, the reason we started the program is to help people like yourselves, or people who are trying to break into tech, help you gain experience working collaboratively on a software team. So this is something that's really hard to simulate on your own. So if you're doing free code camp, you're learning by YouTube videos, even in a lot of boot camps, you're not working the same way that a software team does. And so you get into an interview and you're kind of at a disadvantage when you're talking to say a hiring manager or somebody who kind of assumes that you've kind of done certain things. We're trying to simulate that experience so that you can go into your interviews more confidently and get that job. It's all about kind of getting you those jobs. So the goal of the project is to work together to build what we call a smart shopping list app. So the app, based on your shopping habits, it learns when certain items are sort of due to be bought. So those things go to the top of the list. It's kind of a clever little idea that came up when I taught at a boot camp back in 2016. And we did a group project and we just brainstormed ideas, and somebody in the group suggested this, and that's what we built. A couple of years later, I built it for myself, and then right after that, somebody from the boot camp came and said, "Hey, I want to, I'm having trouble kind of staying motivated coding. I just built this thing. Let me spec it out. We'll run a project." Stacy was part of that first project. At the end was like, we got to do this for other people. So we ran a second team, and we were kind of off and running. Every team builds the same app, and the reason we do that is so that we can scope the tickets, the stories, the sort of instructions for building the app, so really tightly to make sure that you can stay within sort of the expected time each week. Everyone builds the same app, but they all come out a little bit differently. So teams, everyone brings their personalities to it and sort of different ideas, and software evolves over time. So from TCL 1 to TCL 65, even just sort of what we're used to as software is going to change. So they all come out differently. We have a link to a walkthrough from TCL 6, so that's going way back. But Jen there, she does a little walkthrough of it. Really highly encourage you to watch that and kind of understand what the end goal is of what you're working towards. Just so you kind of have an idea like where you're taking the app. So we're bringing you together with a bunch of other people who are just kind of coming into the community, along with mentors who have been here before and some new mentors. Some of the mentors are people who've done the program. So you're joining this community of brilliant and supportive friends. That's a Stacyism, I can tell. Like across the globe, we have people. I mean, in most parts of the world at this point. Oh, we have to change that text there, Stacy. Every quarter, a new cohort starts. So now we're just doing twice a year. Yeah, but regionally based teams still. The teams we try to keep you within 3 or 4 hours of each other time with respect to time zones, because there is a lot of synchronous work that happens. But each team is made up of 4 developers who work together to build the app under the guidance of 3 mentors who are there to support you throughout the project. So the reason that we do this is that, knowing how to code is just part of the equation of being a developer, and then all the collaboration skills are what make you sort of professional level. A lot of not anyone, but it's people can learn to code. It's really hard to simulate, and everyone can learn the things that we're teaching too. It's just you have to have the opportunity to do it. So we're just providing that opportunity. A big part of it for us, one of the things we think is kind of the secret sauce of what we do to some extent is pair programming. So people come in with maybe some experience with pair programming. We really emphasize it because we feel like sort of a Venn diagram of skills that everybody brings to the project. So if you are here are your skills and here are somebody else's skills, and you put those together, and now you have a broader set of skills. You're going to be more likely to be able to kind of solve the problem at a high level of quality in the time allotted if you're working with someone else. You have that person to sort of bounce ideas off of, kind of balance each other out. So we really emphasize pair programming. We're going to do a learning module. I think it's at the end of week 3 on pair programming, but we purposely have it a few weeks into the program so that you have an opportunity to pair with everybody else on your team first. So no preconceptions. There's lots of ways to do pair programming, but we want you to kind of have a little bit of experience, and then we'll talk about some of those common patterns for how people do it effectively, and you'll have something to sort of some experience to latch that information onto. So yeah, anything else I need to cover? I think that's it, right?
That's great. I want to call it
off to
too.
Stacy.
Pair programming can be super nerve-wracking if you haven't had to do it before. It can be really uncomfortable to talk through these things and say these things out loud. But I promise it's one of the best things to prepare you to go into like technical interviews. So say the things now, make the mistakes, and figure out how to do it so that when you go into interviews, you feel much more confident. And again, can land that job.
I'm gonna say one more thing. Is like one of the big benefits of doing this program is that you spend 8 weeks talking about the tech. Literally, it's just sometimes some of these terms you might be rereading and studying, you never say out loud until you get into an interview and you feel like a dork because you're trying to pronounce GraphQL for the first time or something. So this way you're in here and you're talking about the stuff, and it's all kind of in cache, if you know what I mean. Like it's called you have experience to practice just talking about it. It makes it so much easier in an interview. All right, I'll shut up now.
I love it. All amazing content. Okay, so how does it all work? This project's organized in GitHub. You all should be invited and have your projects as a set of user stories. Each of these user stories, which we'll take a look at real quick, have a description of what you need to do to complete the issue. And it includes something called acceptance criteria that describes what needs to be done for the piece of work to be complete. Yeah, so these are all in your backlog. Your backlog is the project that we'll look at. But we're saying some of these words because, again, you want to be able to go into an interview and be like, oh, yeah, we did this project. Some of the acceptance criteria were this, and this is how we approached it. And when you can kind of use some of that industry terminology, it can really help you stand apart. So there's some resources here if you want to dig in a bit more. But in your repo, let me go back just so I can navigate there so you can see how I get there. Of course, it's going to make me go through every issue I've ever pulled open. Why? Okay, so say you're on TCL 65. When you get into GitHub, it looks about like this, your repo, your project. If you ever head to this projects tab and open that, you'll see your Smart Shopping List project. And that's where you can pull from this kind of board. So every week, whenever you meet with your team to decide what work you'll do, these are the issues you'll be doing. So number 3, for example, as a user, I want to set up a new shopping list so I can start tracking purchases. That's your user story. Down below, you'll see a summary of what needs to be done, and then a list of acceptance criteria. So you'll want to write the code so that all of these boxes are checked, and that's when you'll be sending it off for review. So that's where your project is. That's where you'll be working and finding out what to do. Okay, a task or a story is done when all those AC, which is acceptance criteria, have been met. In the case of a UI feature, it's been reviewed for accessibility. That's something that we think is very important that everybody leans into now before you go out into an engineering team, so you can take that with you and we can help make the internet a better place, make apps a better place for everyone. The code to complete the task has been implemented and reviewed by the other pair of developers. So as Andrew said, you're a team of 4 engineers. You're going to split up into 2 pairs of 2 each week, and each of you will do 1 of those tickets. So each week, only 2 tickets are getting done. You'll swap your code and the other pair will review it first. And then the final thing, after it's been signed off by the other pair, is that one of your mentors, who we're considering the product owner in this case, will also have kind of the final review on that piece of work. So as we've said, hopefully it's clear, each week your team will split up into pairs. Each pair will take 1 of these stories. So just to really drill in here, on the first week, you'll drag in stories 1 and 2. A pair of you will work on 1 and a pair of you will work on 2. And at the end of the 8 weeks, all of these issues should be done and you should have a complete, wonderful, awesome app and you can celebrate. Okay, coordination and communication. It's all about collaboration here, and a big part of collaboration is having good, solid communication. So it's going to be super helpful for you and your partner and everybody on your team to document your work. So one of the first things you and your pair buddy will do each week, you'll get your ticket. Again, say you get number 1. You'll create your branch, which we'll go over in a minute, but you'll create a draft pull request, because when you have a pull request available, that allows you to make comments right next to the code, right where the work's happening, all in one place where everybody knows where to find it. So it can be a really good practice. Learn more about draft PRs here. Slack. Most of our coordination will happen through Slack. If you haven't used Slack before, no big deal. We've got some helpful tips for you here. The first one is threads. Like, threads are an absolute must for making Slack not a scary place to be, not an overwhelming place to be, because it can get really noisy. So when you use threads, 2 really great things happen. One is it really encapsulates that conversation. So if you ask a question, the answer to that question should be right there in the thread, so that a month later, if you need to go find that answer, you don't have to like dig through the channel, a bunch of other random things to find that answer. It's just right there with the question, very easy. And it also helps us keep notifications to a minimum. So if I get tagged into a thread and I'm no longer needed there, I can unfollow that. Or it also makes sure that the people who do need to be notified are getting notified, and we're not just like making the channel super noisy. So threads and notifications. Speaking of notifications, tag people when you need people. I know it can feel really uncomfortable, like I don't want to be bothersome, I don't want to be rude, but it's the only way we can work efficiently and collaborate is by directly tagging in the people we need. So the example here is like using, Stacy, can you review this PR? Versus, can someone review this PR? Because chances are people will be like, somebody else will do that, and then it won't get done. So be direct, it's totally fine. We expect that completely. You have 2 group tags for your group. So say you're TCL 65, like we're looking at here. You'll have group TCL 65, which will be all of the engineers on that team, your team of 4. And then you'll also have group TCL 20 or 65 mentors, which will be your mentors, obviously. So you would use these, for example, when you and your partner finish your work for the week. You would tag in the other pair of engineers. You could just use this group because you're all going to be involved in that conversation anyway. Hey, we're ready for code review. And once it's signed off on, you could potentially use the mentors one to connect with your mentors to get their review as well. Just a suggestion. You'll figure it out in there. Okay, and the third thing is use GIFs and emojis as much as possible. It can be really dry and sometimes uncomfortable to just talk, like via text. And so feel free to emote, use some fun stuff in there. It's completely appropriate. I know that like there's been kind of a shift, especially working in tech, where using GIFs and emojis is more appropriate than ever. Sometimes my grandma will be with me and she'll be watching me work and I'm like, I swear I'm working, but I've been looking for a GIF for like 7 minutes. But it's totally appropriate. It makes work fun and it's a good way to bond and build connections. So have fun. Note here, you can disable animations in Slack if you would like to. Okay, moving on to the development process. All of your work that you do each week with your partner will be done on a feature branch in Git. Branches should be named in the following way. If you're a little off, it's fine. But essentially, you'll do the initials of person 1, initials of person 2, and a short description. So if me, Stacey Taylor, and my buddy Alejandro, who is a mentor, just isn't here today, we're working on connecting to Firestore, this is what our branch name might look like, our initials and a short description. So when you're ready to work on a feature, whenever you have a ticket that you and your partner are ready to start doing, what you'll do is you'll create one of these feature branches. And I've got a couple commands here that you can use, but you'll also be going through a quick Git learning module lesson tutorial before you get started, just to answer any questions and make sure you all feel comfortable and confident. Okay, when you and your partner do your work, you have your feature, you think it's ready to go, you're going to have your pull request. Hopefully you'll already have a draft PR. If you don't, you'll create one. You'll notify the other pair in Slack that they need to review your PR. You'll incorporate the feedback from the other pair into your work until everybody's satisfied with the code and we all think it's good. Then you'll tag in one of your mentors to review the PR for you, give the final approval. And once that's approved, you'll merge it into main. It will be built and deployed to production automatically because we have this handy dandy Firebase hosting. You'll check your work on the production site and you'll celebrate. And that'll be your feature built for the week. Very good job. Okay, one thing I want to say, I think this probably gets brought up somewhere else in the orientation, but I feel like I can't say it enough, and you'll hear your mentor saying it too. Oh, one of my biggest pieces of advice is when you're working on your ticket, stick as closely to the acceptance criteria as possible. Because if you don't, you tend to be like, oh, well, maybe if I just add this one little thing and add this one little thing, and all of a sudden you're working really far ahead into other weeks, and it's what's called scope creep. And it's really bad in business. So get used to not doing it here, and just do what the ticket says. And that's it. Don't do any more. If you have questions about like, should this be done as part of this ticket, be really loud about it. Because we don't want you to have to do more work than we're expecting. Okay.
It's kind of the danger of watching that video where you kind of see the end result. It's like, then you're tempted. You're like, these things are coming, but really like we're trying to protect your time by scoping the tickets, pretty small. So you can fit it into the 5 hours a week that we expect. So we promise you'll get there if you stick to just that week's acceptance criteria.
Exactly. Yes. So when does everything happen? This project should take about 40 hours over the total of 8 weeks. So as Andrew mentioned, that breaks down to roughly 5 hours per week. At least 2 to 3 of those hours will be pair programming with your partner. 1 hour will be allotted for your weekly sync that you'll have with your team each weekend. And the rest of the time will be researching, code review, organizing your work, chatting in Slack, whatever you will. Okay, the weekly cadence. I love this. A week sounds like a long time, but it is not when it comes to engineering and development and doing work. So we've kind of laid out what we think an ideal week would look like to sort of guide you in understanding like when you should try to have things complete or moved on to the next step. And we have this lovely infographic here about the weekly cadence, but essentially you really want to front load your week with the coding work. Meet up with your partner immediately, try and get as much of it done as early in the week as possible, because the review cycle actually takes a lot longer than you would expect. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, perhaps you and your partner are pairing getting your feature completed so that come Thursday, you can submit that pull request and get the other pair's feedback. Come Friday, passing it over to the mentor for feedback. Saturday, potentially spending some time revamping anything the mentor might have suggested. And then on Sunday, you'll meet up for your weekly sync and demo that code in production. Again, like since you have to fit building the whole feature into like such a small time frame, that's why it's super important to just stick to those acceptance criteria. Okay, weekly sync. I've mentioned these before, but this will be an hour that you spend with your team each week. Each of these hour-long meetings will look about the same, except for we alternate between learning modules here or retrospective. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Every week you get together. If you haven't already figured out what that timing will be with your team, do know that that will be happening soon, but you'll be coordinating and figuring out a time, probably on a Sunday, that works best for everybody on the team to meet up and do this. Every single time you meet, it will start with demos and discussion. So what that means is in the week, you and your partner built this really amazing thing, and something that we do in software engineering is we demo that work. And a really great demo can look like a quick look at the code in production, walking us through how it functions, what it does, and then kind of digging a little bit deeper into the things that you learned, potentially taking a look at the code, talking about any interesting technical concepts that were experienced, applied, whatever. But these demos, I can't emphasize enough that you should spend time with your partner preparing them in advance, because they can be a really great artifact for you in your portfolio or in your job hunt when you're trying to show potential employers that you demo your work. You know exactly how it goes, just like we would do on our engineering teams. And it can look really good. So prep that with your partner beforehand and come, and you'll keep it to, 5-6 minutes, maybe a minute or two of discussion. And both teams will do that because you'll be demoing both of the features that were built in the week. Okay, some weeks you'll have learning modules. These are presentations by mentors on topics that we felt really aligned with what we're trying to do here at the Collab Lab. So the first one will be Git. We have them on code review, pair programming, communication, accessibility, and they're really fun. So that's a great time for you to come learn, ask questions, and kind of pick your mentor's brains on some different topics that apply. On the weeks that you don't do learning modules, we'll be doing retrospective. Retrospectives, again, are another really important part of sort of the agile software development methodology, where you need to take time to reflect with your team and learn and grow. So retrospectives, you'll probably do them. Thank you. I'm getting coffee delivery. You'll be doing retrospectives when you get your job, more than likely, but it's a really great safe space to practice here, articulating feedback for your team. And that can be appreciations, things that you thought went really well. That can be feedback for improvement on how the team can improve and work more efficiently, or be more effective. So really think about this as you're going through your week. What things are great? What things could be improved? And maybe make yourself a little note so that when it comes time to retro every 2 weeks, you have some really valuable insight to share that can help you and your team be a stronger team. Okay, and then the last thing that you will do every single time is planning for the next week. So you have in each of your projects who you'll be paired with every week. It's just done programmatically in no particular order, but you get to pair with everybody twice. So you'll take a look at who your partner is, and then you'll be assigned one of those issues that we showed over here on this board. What you'll do with your mentors is you'll drag it into in progress, take a quick read through it, and just think high level about what questions you might have, what the ticket might not say that you might want to know, so you can get some initial direction there. Of course, you'll probably have many, many more questions as you dig in a bit deeper, and that's totally expected. So be really loud about all the questions you have. There's no reason you need to spin your wheels. We're all in this together. But that can be a good initial time to get some of those questions asked and find direction. Okay, phew, let's recap. That was a lot. It's always a lot. It's gonna be fine. Okay, so a quick run through high level of what your time at Collab Lab will look like. Down here, you're gonna get work experience on a software team led by people who are working in the industry. So ask them questions, learn a lot from them. The mentors we have here are brilliant and super supportive and helpful. So learn a lot from them. You'll be working on a project that's structured in a very similar way that you would see in probably the next company that you work for. We'll spend 8 weeks working together to build this smart shopping list app. Be sure to look at the demo shared above, or find demos. There's other ones on YouTube. There's a lot of Collab Lab stuff on YouTube that you can dig through to get ideas. Your Collab Lab team consists of 4 developers and 3 mentors. Each week, the developers will break up into 2 pairs of 2, and each pair will tackle 1 ticket, sticking as closely to the acceptance criteria as possible. Developers will each spend about 5 hours a week working on the project. This includes pair programming, researching, working, reviewing, all the things you need to do to get the work done. And I want to call out here, this time frame for us is really, really, really important. We think that one of the bigger barriers into programs like this is the time commitment required. And so we tried really hard to scope the project so that we can fit it into that 5 hours, but we know it doesn't always go that way. And so if you feel like you're going to run over that time, if you're getting close, connect with your mentors immediately, because 1, there could be a really good chance to give us feedback on the program so that we can shape it in a way that allows it to fit in that time frame. And 2, there could be some really good opportunities to work through time management skills when it comes to engineering with your mentors. So be loud about it. It happens. You would not be the first and you will not be the last to spend more, but we want to do what we can to get you right in that 5-hour sweet spot. Okay. And then you spent your 5 hours working. Each weekend during the program, you'll have that weekly sync where we'll get together to demo, to plan, and to learn together. So what is next? Your team is going to kick off your first weekly sync this weekend. If you don't already have the time for that, ask about it. We will be doing learning modules on Git processes and making sure that you get all set up to collaborate on your first week of development with your pair partner. So let's do this. I have one other thing that I want to mention that after all this time, I still have not added to this orientation doc. But when you're done with this 8 weeks of building this app with your friends, we have a program called the Career Lab, where it's an additional 2 weeks, totally optional, highly recommended, where you get to come, beef up your LinkedIn, have a lot of practice doing job fit interviews, technical interviews, take home assignments, and getting feedback from people who are actually doing hiring for engineering teams. So practice, practice, practice. I can't tell you how many times I've gone into an interview and been like, shoot, I wish I would have done a mock interview first. So it's a really great opportunity to practice, but I'll be sending out more comms on that about halfway through the 8-week program. So no action necessary now, just know that it's going to happen. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, vibes, good ones, nervous ones.
Yeah, how are people feeling? Are you nervous, excited, both?
A ta-da.
I'm super excited.
Yeah?
Yeah, excited to join the program.
Love that. Yeah. Great.
That'll be fun. It's a little bit like these first couple of weeks. It's a little bit like starting a job because it's a new group of people. You're trying to figure out how to work together and all that kind of stuff. But we try to structure it so each week is like really basically the same sort of flow, and so you'll get the hang of it quickly, and it'll start to feel really natural. And then you can just focus on the work and like getting to know your team and that kind of thing. So yeah, throw yourselves into it, have fun.
There's like 2 things that I always make Andrew say on this call because I think they're perfect and exactly right. One is the board game reference. Do you want to say it? You deliver it so well. Perfect and beautiful.
It's a little bit like when you're trying to learn a new board game and you're sitting there reading the rules and you're like, none of this makes sense. But then as soon as you start to play the game, it all kind of like, oh, okay, I get it now, right? It's going to be a little bit like that. Like we just threw a bunch of information at you. But once you start to do it, you'd be like, oh, okay, branch naming, got it. Like all the different mechanics of it.
Yeah. So. And the other thing is, this is not school. This is not a boot camp. You are not being graded here. This is about teamwork. So work as a team. Don't be scared if you feel like you have too many questions or you feel like you don't know how to do something or you get stuck, because that literally happens to us all day, every day in real engineering jobs. This is let's just get used to it now and learn how to ask the questions and be loud about it. We're here for you.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's 2 months is a long time, right? Like life is going to happen during that time. So, you might get sick, you might have vacation planned, you might, like whatever, Magda, you're traveling for a couple of weeks. Like, like there's normal stuff that happens. And so just talk to your team and like, you figure out how to solve it. Like we've had teams in the past who didn't finish their issue in the week, and then you spend some of the time in the weekly think like, okay, well, how do we want to handle that? Do we want to we want to make sure we finish that first? Do we want to, kind of drop some, cut some scope somewhere? You just have a discussion with the team because you're just a group of people trying to get something done, right? Like we're not grading you. We're just trying to give you an experience that helps you kind of level up in a few areas.
Honestly, too, that happens in real life all the time and can be a brilliant little tidbit to bring into an interview. Because when you go into interview, they are probably going to ask you something like, tell me about a time when you didn't meet a deadline, or tell me about a time when you disagreed with a technical approach on a project. So use this experience to get answers to those questions. Really be thinking about this experience as a job so that when you go into those interviews, you can be very confident, like, oh yeah, of course I've experienced that. Let me tell you about it.
And executing this perfectly misses out on some excellent opportunities to learn how to work through stuff, which do it here and then you're better at it in real life, right? So
exactly that.
Yep. Great point.
Other questions, thoughts, tips, and advice from those of you who have been around? Good.
Take the advice to front load your week seriously. It will be really, really helpful, especially as we get into like more complicated issues.
Yeah, you might look at this first week's issues and be like, that's it. But it is really the first week is really about you learning sort of like, how to do pair programming, how to put up a PR, how to do a code review, how to demo, like just kind of getting the mechanics down. So the issue itself will be relatively simple. They will get a little harder as the project goes on. So just really focus on like, okay, this is the process in that first week and kind of get that, that down pat, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, another thing I want to call out when I was talking about like sticking as close to the AC as possible, I posted in the chat like way up above, but one of my favorite parts of this project is that in the end, you spend a good chunk of time collaborating with your team on what the design will be. Like you all get to pull out your design chops, come up with like what color schemes you're going to use, how you're going to make buttons look, and how you're going to manage all of that. So I would recommend not spending any time doing any styling early on because it's just going to get trashed. I know it can feel really uncomfortable. I like looking at pretty things. To look at a real raw app, it's like, this is hard on my eyes, but just know it will be beautified in the end. Okay, well.
Any questions? You're all set.
Good.
It's gonna be great. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna learn, I hope.
Yes, absolutely you will. Okay, well, we're here for you. First thing for you is gonna be, if you haven't already pulled down your repo and contributed, put your name on the contributors markdown file, please do that. That just shows us that you have what you need to push up to that repo. If you haven't, the instructions to do that are in the README of your project. And we'll get together this weekend and kick things off and get you your first issues. Cool. All right. Well, that's it from me. So see you out there. Good luck, everyone. Be loud about questions.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good